Hola, me llamo Claire. I will tell you about how to use the subjunctive with conjunctions. Certain conjunctions commonly introduce adverbial clauses which describe how, why, when, and where an action takes place. Conjunctions that require the subjunctive are a menos que, which means unless, antes de que, which means before, con tal de que, which means provided that, en caso de que, which means in case that, para que, so that, and sin que, without. These conjunctions are always used with the subjunctive tense. Conjunctions that are used with either subjunctive or indicative are cuando, which means when, después de que, which means after, en cuanto, which means as soon as, hasta que, until, and tan pronto como, which also means as soon as. You can tell when you're using a subjunctive conjunction or an indicative conjunction if the tense is future or just factual information. The infinitive, not que plus a subjunctive, is used after the prepositions antes, de, para, and sin when there is no change of subject. One warning. While you may use a present participle with the English equivalent of these conjunctions, in Spanish you cannot. However, not all Ks are subjunctive. For example, a time when you would use the word K in the subjunctive is when you would say something like Es bueno que Fernando corra todos los días, meaning it's good that Fernando runs every day. You use que with subjunctive because es bueno que is a verb of emotion and opinion. When you wouldn't use que would be a sentence something like this. Jimena dice que Fernando corre mucho, meaning that Jimena says that Fernando runs a lot. You wouldn't use subjunctive in this case because Jimena saying is just a fact.
Hola, mi nombre es Maria. I'm going to show you some examples when you use subjunctive. One sentence is después de que ustedes tomen sus refrescos, recyclen las botellas. This sentence would use subjunctive because it's saying after you drink the refreshments, recycle the bottles. Displaced DK is the conjunction that determines if you use subjunctive or indicative. Another example where you use subjunctive is yo como pasa a menos que tenga queso. A menos que is the conjunction. You use a menos que always for subjunctive. You will never use a menos que for indicative. A indicative sentence would be yo como pasa cuando tiene queso. Cuando is the conjunction here. Cuando is when, so you or I will eat pasta when I have queso. You're saying that it's present and it's not future. Another subjunctive sentence would be voy a estudiar filosofía cuando esté en la universidad. Cuando is the conjunction that says I will study philosophy when I go to college. This is the future, so you would not use indicative. You would always use subjunctive. One last indicative example would be cuando al beber refresco no jueguen deportes. Cuando is the conjunction again. It's saying when you drink refreshments, do not play sports. This would not be subjunctive because cuando is not in the future. It's not saying that you will do later. It's just a fact or somebody's opinion, so you would use indicative instead of the future tense.
Okay, so my example for indicative is yo estudio hasta que yo comprendo. As you can see, this is not subjunctive. This is in the indicative form. This does not use subjunctive because there is no future action implied. The translation to this is I study until I understand. You're not planning anything for the future. This is all happening in the moment.